has resigned, and his resignation has in fact been accepted by the committee of the Shiromani Akali Dal. He tendered his resignation over the cases of sacrilege during his tenure in Punjab. That's Sukhbir Badal, the Shiromani Akali Dal chief, whose resignation has now been accepted. We're also being joined by my colleague Lalit live from Chandigarh to get us more on the story. Lalit, और बताइए इस बारे में, शिरोमणि अकाली दल के चीफ की रेजिग्नेशन, सुखबीर सिंह बादल की रेजिग्नेशन एक्सेप्ट कर ली गई है. आप हमें और डिटेल्स दीजिए इस स्टोरी के बारे में. ललित.
देखिए, अगर फिलहाल आपको बता दें कि जो सुखबीर सिंह बादल है, शिरोमणि अकाली दल के जो प्रधान थे, उन्होंने 16 नवंबर को इस्तीफ़ा है वो दिया था, और जो शिरोमणि अकाली दल की वर्किंग कमेटी है उसकी आज बैठक हुई है, जिसमें इस इस्तीफ़े को अब मंजूर कर दिया गया है. आपको बता दें कि जिस तरह से जो अकाल तख्त साहब है, जो कि सिखों की सबसे रिलीजियस बॉडी है, आदेश दिए गए थे कि जल्द जो इस्तीफ़ा है उसको मंजूर किया जाए. उसके साथ साथ जो पार्टी की रिकंस्ट्रक्शन है, जो पार्टी की मेंबरशिप है, उसको फिर से शुरू किया जाए. तो इस बाबत है जो इस्तीफ़ा पिछले 2 महीनों से लंबित पड़ा था कमेटी के पास, आज उस इस्तीफ़े को मंजूर कर दिया गया है. उसके साथ साथ सर्वसम्मति से ये भी कहा गया है कि 20 जनवरी के बाद है वो पंजाब में जो शिरोमणि अकाली दल की जो मेंबरशिप ड्राइव है वो शुरू की जाएगी. जी.
Right, Lalit, thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast this evening with all the updates that you got us. For now, viewers, it's time to move on and look at another very interesting controversy that has been sparked by the Larsen and Toubro chairperson S.N. Subramanian, who has advocated for a 90-hour work week, a whooping 90-hour work week. Netizens have gone crazy over the claim and they have been reacting ever since morning. He suggested a 90-hour work week and work even on Sundays to remain quote-unquote competitive. In the video, when asked why Larsen and Toubro required its employees to work on Sundays, Mr. Subramanian said, and I'm quoting him here, that I regret I'm not able to make you work on Sundays, to be honest. If I can make you work on Sundays, I will be more happy, because I too work on Sundays. He further made a very misogynistic comment, stating that how long can you stare at your wife? What do you do sitting at home? And how long can the wife stare at you? We're in fact being joined by an ex-L&T employee, Parvati Iyer, who was an L&T employee in the early 90s, who is going to speak to us about this. Parvati, welcome to Republic TV. Tell us more about what this means. How can this take a toll on people who work in the company and beyond? In fact, there are UN reports, WHO reports that suggest that so many people in years are killed because of the illnesses that they suffer because of long working hours. Parvati, tell us more about this.
Good evening. It's a privilege and honor to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me. I have been an employee. In fact, not just me, my husband also has been part of L&T. We are a part of the L&T family from the early 90s for more than a decade. And to tell you, the culture has been extremely good with L&T, though the working hours were about 10 hours a day on an average, 10 to 12 hours, not more than that. And we had a 5-day working per week. So this statement by the chairman, I'm sure he has not really meant what he wanted to say. Because 90 hours per week, I'm sure it's not practical at all for anybody to that extent, you know. And frankly, as an employee, or more so as a woman employee, I feel that it's not about just the husband looking at the wife or the wife looking at the husband at home. More than our professional requirements, we also have the personal requirements, and added to that, the social requirements are also there. So all put together, I think what makes an employee happy at the end of the day is how well he can balance his personal and professional life. And to do that, I'm sure 90 hours per week is not, practical at all.
Right, Parvati, thanks for answering that. In fact, I also want to speak to you about what is the notion. Do you think that if there is work that is extended, work hours which are extended, do you think that a pay parity for the amount of work that is being asked out of employees can do justice? Or do you think that even without or even with a pay parity, do you still think that work-life balance is an important aspect of an employee's life? Talk to us more about that also, Parvati.
Yeah, personally, if you ask me, pay has never been an issue for me. Working long, I have worked long whenever the situation has demanded, like when the chairman at that time was Sri A.M. Nayak. So whenever he used to visit us at Baroda, I used to be part of his office. And Mr. K. Venkatramanan, who was the vice president then. So whenever he visited our office, we have to work extra hours to make, as per the requirement, we have put in extra hours. So at the end of the day, whenever the situation has demanded, we have all the employees are ready to put in extra hours.
Right, Parvati. In fact, I would also like to give you an anecdote that I found while researching more on the story. And I got to know that Mr. Subramaniam took home about 51 crore rupees as part of his salary in the financial year 2024, which was about 530 times more than the median salary of the employees. And yet, he has said that he will work as much as employees do. Thanks for joining us on the broadcast, Parvati. Those insights helped our viewers a lot, I'm sure. But for now, we will be moving on.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Virat Kohli's poor form in the recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy series has left many contemplating just how much is left in the tank of the former India captain. Kohli scored 1 century at Perth, but the rest of his tour is best remembered for him consistently being dismissed by balls pitched outside the off stump. And while Kohli's efforts have not been in doubt, so pronounced have been his struggles that some have concluded that this is a mental block that he cannot possibly overcome. But he has now been offered some advice by former Australia captain Ricky Ponting, who believes that Kohli is trying too hard and that, in part, explains his struggles. The challenge is, and I can see it with Virat Kohli now, you can see how much he wants it. He's trying so hard that actually makes batting harder. The harder you try sometimes with batting, the less success you're going to have, Ponting said. Ponting added that Kohli is seemingly trying hard not to poke at balls outside the off stump, but said he believes a mental block has formed that leads to him falling for the same trap. Even the way that he's getting out, you can see he doesn't want to be playing at those balls. He's trying not to do it, but there's some mental block there that makes him feel for that one outside the off stump, Ponting said. So what exactly is the solution? In Ponting's opinion, he believes Kohli should take a break and try to come back mentally refreshed. He had a mental break in the past where he stepped away for a while and then came back and found the love for the game again. If he wants to continue playing Test match cricket, he might just need to have a little spell outside for a while, Ponting said. Kohli's form has been up and down across formats in recent years, but many thought his retirement from T20I cricket would lead to him finding more form in Test cricket. However, he has struggled majorly in all the 10 tests that India played to conclude their games in the 2023-25 edition of the World Test Championship. And given the next WTC final will be held in 2027, by which
we'll use this bite on the rundown. But Deepak, it's in Hindi language. Don't worry, we'll do real-time translation with interpreter.
इस बार का महाकुंभ राष्ट्रवाद के साथ हिंदू एकता और सनातन को शिखर पे ले जाने का एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर है।
देखिए, सनातन तो हमेशा शिखर पर ही रहा है, इसलिए सनातन है। हिंदू एकता और राष्ट्रीय एकता एक दूसरे की पूरक है। याद रखना, मैंने एक बार कहा था कि बटेंगे तो कटेंगे जी, ऐसे ही नहीं कहा था। इतिहास इस बात का गवाह है। एक हैं तो सेब है। जो भी एक शक्तिशाली और समृद्ध भारत का पक्षधर है, एक सुरक्षित भारत का पक्षधर है, उसे जातिवाद की इस दुकान को हमेशा के लिए बंद करने के लिए पुरजोर तरीके से आगे आकर के काम करना होगा।
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया। पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जहांगीर उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Elaborate arrangements have been made for this year Vaikunth Ekadasi by TTD and the district administration. Sufficient police personnel were deployed at all the counters in Tirupati. There were 9 counters and 1 in Tirumala. We kept holding areas as well this year additionally, so that there is easy access into the queue counters. Unfortunately, at this particular location, Bairagi Pattada, there was some miscommunication as to the opening of the gate. So at around 7:45, when they opened the gate suddenly, there were, in fact, the gate was initially opened to let one person go out because they were not feeling well, and it was opened and then closed. Then there was a commotion among the people that gates are being opened. So then they rushed towards the gate, and then again they had to open the gate. This is where the lapse has occurred. So unfortunate incident, but we have taken all the measures. Honorable CM also has spoken to all of us, and he has asked us to make all measures to ensure the injured are taken care of. Honorable CM himself is coming now to visit the patients and to the location and to review the situation. The situation has been brought under control at yesterday 9:30 itself, and in all the queue counters, the tickets have been distributed by 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. It was completed, in fact. So everything is under control. There is no any other issue since 9:30 p.m. yesterday. So in right time, all the injured have been brought to the hospital and they have been treated. This is though it is an every year event, this year additional forces have been deployed both in Tirumala and Tirupati by the TTD administration and also the district administration. New measures have been taken up. All facilities have been provided.
ये कहते हैं पुराने विवादों पर को बंद करके रखो, उनको फिर से खुरेदने की जरूरत नहीं है।
पुराना जख्म का उपचार होना बहुत आवश्यक है, नहीं तो कैंसर हो जाता है। सर्जरी एक बार होगी और उस सर्जरी के लिए हमें तैयार रहना होगा।
सर्जरी
घोड़ा कितना भी बड़ा क्यों ना हो, अगर एक बार कायदे से सर्जरी हो जाएगी तो नए सिरे से फिर वह आगे बढ़ेगा।
संभल का मंदिर वहां बननी चाहिए फिर से।
आईने अकबरी इस बात को प्रमाणित कर रहा है कि यहाँ पे श्रीहरि के मंदिर को तोड़ करके कोई एक ढांचा खड़ा किया गया है, तो लोग अपनी आत्मा को एक बार झकझोरें, देखें, उसको स्वीकार करें। बीमारी को समय रहते स्वीकार कर लेना चाहिए।
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया। पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जहांगीर उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रूंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रूंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Long distance get you down. Now you can get 2x, 3x, 5x or even 10x close-ups with optical or optical quality zoom. It's that easy to zoom into an image or a document or even the sky.
जो हिंदू नेता हैं जो अब तक रामलला के दर्शन नहीं कर गए, क्यों नहीं गए? और क्या वो लोग अब कुंभ की सिग्निफिकेंस को समझ पाएंगे?
देखिए, हमारे यहाँ बाध्यकारी नहीं है, यही तो हमारी महानता है। हम बाध्य नहीं करते। भाई जो जाएगा पुण्य का भागीदार बनेगा, जो नहीं जाएगा अपने कर्मों की सजा भुगतेगा।
वो अब तक रामलला के दर्शन करने क्यों नहीं गए?
क्योंकि नैतिक रूप से इतना साहसी नहीं है।
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Friday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. What is common among these very places? Unakoti, Mugdepur, and the other very place where we have seen what really happened. How are these essentially places linked? Is there a larger conspiracy? Is there a deep, dark conspiracy that is essentially being hatched? Is there someone who's essentially gunning for a border escalation? And why suddenly is the BSF being prevented from border fencing? Tonight on This Is Exclusive, I will tell you the real reason behind the escalation at the Indo-Bangladesh border. But first up, let's take a look at the headlines. After desperate provocation attempts at the border, US government's big conspiracy unmasked. Bringing you the exclusive news break in a short while from now. Race for the Rakhine state begins. Myanmar army airstrike claims 40 lives in the deadly airstrike. We get you a ground report. L&T chairman Subramaniam calls for a 90-day work week, sparking a massive debate on work-life balance. Yogi to be the star campaigner in the national capital ahead of the Delhi Assembly polls. By the end of December 2024, there was a spike of infiltration, a spike that we saw of smugglers coming to the border of Indo-Bangladesh border. And what we essentially witnessed was this, ladies and gentlemen, the very fact that all of these places, which are in different parts, in West Bengal and in Tripura, there was this renewed attempt of infiltration, smuggling, all of this actually happening. What could possibly be the reason? Is there a larger conspiracy at play? Tonight, we are basically uncovering the real conspiracy that was hatched by the US government. The reason being that there is a pattern that essentially emerges, and there is a man that was handpicked by the US government. This was just days before the first incident that actually took place in Sukhbir. UNICEF's government actually picked up a military hardliner, someone who was heading the BDR, which is now known as the BGB, that is the Border Guard Bangladesh. And the scuffle that took place was in these very places, in Unakoti also. You've seen those very images where we saw the border security force standing there, preventing an infiltration attempt from taking place. Now, who exactly is this person that was handpicked by UNICEF government, and whether at all this was part of a larger design, and the design being looking forward for a border escalation actually taking place. That was thwarted by the border security force. We've identified the man. This person makes a statement immediately after being appointed the head of a commission. And the commission basically looking into an incident that took place back in 2009. And without any evidence, the first statement that he makes was against India, trying to link India to a carnage in which there is no evidence that has been shared by Bangladesh. Take a look at this report.
Shukdepur, Unakoti, and countless other districts on our border. A desperate Yunus is looking for a border escalation. Republic deciphers the real conspiracy hatched by Bangladesh's caretaker government. Here's the real story behind Yunus's desperate attempts. In the latest, the same military hardliner who was once removed by Hasina has been handpicked by Yunus. Days before the escalation at the border began, General Rahman was asked to head a commission. The commission was given a mandate: find the transnational link to the BDR carnage. A military hardliner known for his anti-India outlook, Major Faizur Rahman. The story starts in 2009, the infamous BDR carnage. The Bangladesh Rifles revolt, also referred to as the Pilkhana tragedy or the Pilkhana massacre, was a mutiny staged on 25th and 26th of February 2009 by a section of the Bangladeshi Rifles. The rebelling BDR soldiers took over the BDR headquarters in Pilkhana, killing BDR Director General Shakil Ahmed along with 56 other army officers and 17 civilians. They also fired on civilians, held many of their officers and their families hostage, vandalized property and looted valuables. By the second day, the unrest had spread to 12 towns and cities. Yunus has formed a 7-member independent commission headed by Major General Fazlur Rahman to reinvestigate the 2009 BDR carnage. Yunus's man Friday, Major Rahman, openly blames India for the 2009 BDR carnage.
এর মধ্যে অনেকেরই মতামত থাকতে পারে। আমি নিরপেক্ষ তদন্তের সাথে একটা কথা বলতে চাই, ভারত জড়িত বললে হবে না, অমুকে জড়িত, অমুক জেনারেল জড়িত, এটা বললে হবে না, তার সপক্ষে প্রমাণ হাজির করতে হবে। আমি চাইবো আপনারা প্রমাণ দেন, যত ছোটই হোক, যত বড়ই হোক, যত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ হোক বা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ নাই হোক, আপনারা এই প্রমাণ আমাদেরকে দেন। কি এটার উপর নির্ভর করবে অনেক কিছু।
Since then, Yunus's forces have left no stone unturned to provoke the BSF. And surprisingly, the special court investigating the 2009 carnage was set ablaze by students, leading to destruction of all possible evidence. As Republic unmasks a desperate Yunus, the question remains: when will Yunus finally stop provoking our mighty forces?
24th of December, ladies and gentlemen, you have a military hardliner handpicked to look into a carnage that took place back in 2009. And with one single mandate, look into what Yunus says, transnational link. Joining us on this broadcast is Dr. Barik Kaiser. He's from the Awami League. Dr. Kaiser, we believe that there is a link, and the link is this. The military hardliner has been brought in because they are looking for some sort of a border escalation. And why this is a cause of concern. Who exactly is this person, Major General Fazlur Rahman, and how this is going to be a cause of concern for India?
You know that Yunus government is totally, they are anti-Indian, and you know the conspiracy in August, and most of the people in Bangladeshi people that time they are confused. Because at that time social media spread fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. That's why people cannot understand what is happening, and they are totally confused. But day by day, the people can understand. They basically their movement is totally wrong. So the Yunus government, their main tactics and technique is anti-Indian. They try to grow up anti-Indian sentiment in Bangladeshi people. That's why totally they just want
Dr.
to
Kaiser, I
destroy
want to ask you a specific question that is with regards to this man that I'm going to put on air. Someone who headed the BDR, and at that point in time we saw the kind of skirmishes that took place with the BSF when he was at the helm of power. How exactly can that be linked? Because many are saying right now, who have been closely watching all of this, the chronology, his appointment and then what happened in northern Tripura and in West Bengal is a clear link that there is something that is actually brewing. What is it?
Basically, Dr. Yunus, they try to rearrange, they try to focus the anti-Indian sentiment. That's why they replace that kind of people and they totally try to